Hello, welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Today's video is my October making plans video. If you happen to be new to the channel, I'm someone who likes to have a lot of works in progress on my needles, hooks, at any one time, and so I set myself a list of priorities at the beginning of each month. I've got a set of prompt cards and a multi-sided dice, and I roll the dice 4 times and try to pick my projects based on the prompts that pop up. So just a little bit of a sort of random game of chance of fun. I should be doing that later in the video, but to kick things off, as part of the making plans fun, I also have a list of names on my phone of folks from our wonderful Yarn and Yarns community who watch these videos, who've said that they would be interested in picking a project for me as part of my monthly making plans. So I'm going to spin the wheel and see who this month's willing victim is. Okay, that is Caroline, my lovely friend of the Colourful Creativity podcast and Yarn Dyeing Company. I will reach out to Caroline to see if she is willing to pick a project for me to work on in October. Caroline is most welcome to pick from any of my works in progress, or if she wants to do so, she can pick a brand new cast on for me. So we shall see what Caroline decides to pick. I shall come back in a couple of days once she's chosen and let you know what the project is, and then I shall also roll the dice for the rest of my picks. I do have a couple of other wheels to spin though before I finish recording today. I also have a wheel of projects that I am trying to mend. I've got a stack of things that either need mending or adjusting in one way or another, and each month I have been trying to spin the wheel to pick a mending project for me. I'm going to pick something off of my small projects mending list. There's only 4 left on this list at the moment. I'm sure more will get added as things pop up, because you know, I'm wearing my knitwear all the time and sometimes things need mending through wear and tear. Anyway, let's see what the mending wheel has in store for us. Okay, that is my hot water bottle cover, which actually is quite a big mend. Even though it's a small project, there's a lot of stuff that is going on with this hot water bottle cover, so I shall grab that and share that with you just now. A hot water bottle. When I first got back into knitting, I don't know, we're probably talking 15 or so years ago now, maybe slightly more at this point, I can't quite remember. I wanted to dip my toes back into knitting because I learnt to knit when I was little, without kind of investing a whole lot of money in yarn and tools and things like that. So I went hunting around, I believe on eBay, and I found a Kate Davies kit for this lovely little miniature hot water bottle, this colourwork kit, which I snapped up. Oh, this is just such a lovely hot water bottle, and actually for the last couple of years I've been taking it into work, into the office, because it's really easy to fill up and tuck on your lap if it's really chilly in the office, or if I've got any aches and pains. It's quite nice for my back and things like that. Anyway, I left this languishing in the corner of the craft room up here. Some of you may know what's coming. If you've followed for a while, you'll know that one corner of my craft room with a pile of different projects got a little bit moth-chewed. I wasn't sort of cleaning and moving things around up here as I should have, because we had loads of family stuff going on and the house got neglected basically. So yeah, this poor little hot water bottle has been moth-chewed in many places. So the biggest hole I think is up here. And then there's loads of various places around the hot water bottle. You can probably see. So yeah, there's no way I've got any of this red yarn left. Like I say, it was in a kit and I don't think I have that much left over. So I think what I will do is just do some fun visible mending over the holes, and then I shall probably rip the top of this back to just below where that hole is, and just find some other red yarn, non-superwash. Might not even be red, I'm just going to use whatever I've got in my stash, I think, and just re-knit the top a couple of inches of the ribbing to repair that top bit. Obviously when this hot water bottle is in use, the idea is that ribbing gets sort of bent back over the top. It's an extra little sort of cuff to protect you from the top bit of that whole hot water bottle. So yeah, I think this will be quite a nice repair and a combination of different repair techniques. There are quite a few holes in this to fix, so it's going to be a fun one. And then finally, for October's wheel spinning shenanigans, I have a wheel called UFO, Unfinished Objects, and this is a list of sort of fibre adjacent projects, I would say. There are a few knitting and crochet kits on here, but I've got some stitching, I've got some needle felting, all sorts of bits and pieces on this wheel, and some kits that I purchased in the past that I haven't started yet. So each month I'm trying to spin this wheel as well to add something to my making from this UFO pile. So let's see what I shall be working on in October. Okay, that is my moose cross stitch, which actually seems quite fitting for this time of year. It's a sort of wintry, Christmassy kind of scene. I'd love to get this one finished by December, although there might be more than a month's work to go on this project. So I'm gonna have to grab it and remind myself where I'm at with this one as well. So yeah, bear with, I shall go and dig that one out and we shall have a quick chat about it. Actually, now I've got this out of the bag, I feel like I might be able to get this finished. She says, famous last words. I've got a little bit further on than I remembered. If you've watched my, when was it? August making plans video, I was working on one of my mum's old cross stitch projects, and you might remember from that video I've got quite a few of her unfinished cross stitches to finish. I haven't really been in the mood to cross stitch that much the last, I don't know, 10 years probably. But I did in the last couple of years purchase one cross stitch kit just for me. I think I originally saw this on Davina of the Little Workroom Crafts channel here on YouTube, and she had this, I think it's called the Christmas Moose or the Winter Moose. Let me try and find, yeah, Christmas Moose. And this is the design. If you followed for a while, you know I have a slightly weird, unhealthy obsession with moose. So I couldn't resist this kit, and this is how far I've got. It's a bit creased up from being in the bag. Also, I realised not long after I started it that I'd actually held the material the wrong way around. I should have been stitching it that way, but it all fits on, so it's all good. Yeah, I don't have as much of that left as I thought. I've got to fill in the houses on this side of his antler, add the clouds of smoke coming out of the chimneys, do a bit of back stitch, and my thought is to turn this into a wall hanging that I can get out during the winter months. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I was a bit iffy when that came up because now the evenings are getting darker. I find cross stitch a little bit trickier. But I've also been thinking about investing in a good daylight lamp, so maybe this will spur me on to actually investigate a bit more and actually do that. I've been recommended the OttLight brand, OTT. If any of you out there are stitchers or you use a good daylight lamp and have any recommendations, I'd love to know. Please let me know in the comments below. Right, I am off for now. I'm going to send Caroline a message to ask if she is still willing to pick a project for me, and I shall be back in a day or two's time probably to tell you what Caroline has picked, and also to roll the dice for the rest of the October pick. Caroline has come back to me, and she came back to me really quickly. about her project pick, and I'm really excited about this one. I'm always really excited to discover what the community picks will be each month. Caroline has picked a new cast on for me, and she went with something from my queue, which was really fun. And she's picked a project by Susan Ashford, and it's called the Murano Squares Bandana. I'll pop a picture on the screen of what the pattern looks like from the designer's page. Caroline said she decided to pick this for me because I've got a lot of sweaters and bigger projects on the needles at the moment, so she thought it might be nice to have something that I could finish by the end of the year, but also would be like a smaller project to work on when sweaters either just aren't practical or when I just don't feel like reaching for one. So yeah, I'm really thrilled. And I thought I would pick some of my handspun yarn to cast this project on with. So I had a rummage through my handspun stash. I'm not quite sure yet whether this will definitely work. I think I'll cast on and have a play and see what happens. You need 150 grams each of two colours. No, 150 metres each of two colours, sorry. So I've picked, for like my background colour, I've picked this yarn, which is kind of a multicoloured tweedy yarn, but it does have a neutral kind of look to it. I spun this on my support spindles and I plied it on one of my drop spindles, so entirely spindle spun yarn, which is lovely. And it was from some Rolags that I purchased at Alter Knit Universe. Some of their, what they called zero waste Rolags. So these Rolags were made up from bits and pieces of fibre that were left from previous bat making or Rolag making. So yeah, I really enjoyed making this yarn. So I'm hoping that will be my background colour. And I've picked out 3 little mini skeins that were part of the fibre advent swap that I did with my lovely friend Lisa last year. And I've gone for 3 different shades of red. I'm definitely set on using these now that I've seen them together. They make sort of quite a nice gradient, but I'm just not sure if there's going to be enough contrast between the two to make that sort of checkered pattern really stand out. I'm going to cast on and see what happens. If not, I think I will most likely swap out this one and either look for something else in my handspun stash, or I might just pick out like a commercial yarn, something a nice sort of dark shade, almost like a black grey or something, I think, as is shown in the original sort of pattern sample, would look really nice with these 3 reds. But yeah, that's my plan to start with, and we'll see how that goes. I might have to change things up as I go. So thank you so much to Caroline for choosing that. Another reason that I love this project so much is if you have watched any of Caroline's videos in the past, or you've followed her at all, as well as being an amazing yarn dyer, you know that she also is very super talented at making glass beads and likes to collect glass, and she says some of the glass that she has is also Murano glass. So I love that it's got that sort of connection to Caroline directly, as well as her picking that project. So yeah, super excited about that one, as you can tell. Also, Caroline so very kindly gifted me the pattern for the Murano bandana cowl. I keep forgetting. Murano Squares bandana cowl. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten what it's called already. It's going to be one of those, isn't it? Murano Squares bandana. So Caroline's very kindly gifted me the pattern as well, which she didn't need to do. I'm more than happy to purchase patterns if people want to choose a new cast on for me. If I need patterns or yarns, I'm more than happy to do that, but in this case Caroline very kindly gifted me the pattern, so thank you so much. If you would like to go on to my little spinning wheel to be in with a chance of picking a project for me at some month in the future as part of my making plans, then please do leave a comment below and let me know what the best way to contact you is. If you happen to be on the wheel and you no longer want to be on the wheel for whatever reason, then also let me know that in the comments below too. Time to get on and roll the dice and see what other prompts we've got in store, to find out what prompts we've got in store to pick from for the rest of my October projects.
I wonder what's next, you know we're getting older. When all we do is trying, it only makes us stronger. Dreams aren't meant to be broken. Take me to where the mountains can kill. People are free and time stands still. Whatever
voice have spoken, and there's some fun picks in for this month, including one that we haven't had before. So I think I'm going to start with that one, and that is number 9, which is Patreon pick. Now we've had YouTube pick before here, where I ask all of our wonderful Yarn and Yarns community to vote between 2 projects for me to work on this month, and this is obviously a variation on that. So I'm going to pop up a poll for all of my Patreon subscribers, members over there, people that are so kind and able to support me using the Patreon platform, and I'm going to, I think, ask them to pick between 2 sweater projects, and I'm going to use 2 projects that are on my priorities list. If you watched my video where I went through all of my works in progress, I also tried to set a few priority projects that I'd like to try and finish before the end of the year. So I'm going to grab 2 projects from that list, and when this video goes up I shall also be putting a poll over on Patreon to ask folks to vote between the 2 projects, and I'll probably leave that poll going for a week or so after I pop up the video, and then whichever project is in the lead at that point will be the one that I actually pick to work on. Most of the projects on my priority list are sweaters. Most of my works in progress that I've got left are sweaters, so you know it's going to be like that, isn't it? So I'm going to ask the Patreon community to pick between my Lento sweater, and I don't think I've really worked on this. I think I worked on it once since I cast this on, and this is a pattern by, forgotten who it's by. It was originally published in Liner magazine, and it's a really simple raglan sweater. You hold a skein of fingering weight yarn with some mohair, and I'm using some amazing yarn that was gifted to me by the lovely Dagmar, one of our wonderful community members. I'm holding that together with some pink mohair from Rowan Kid Silk Haze that I had in my stash. That will be choice number 1. And then the second project is my Revo project, which is a t-shirt pattern, short sleeve pattern, that I started as part of Kirsty Knits and Sews, her t-shirt make along back in the summer. And this is a pattern that was originally published in an older issue of Pom Pom magazine, and this is my version of Revo. I picked out several skeins of yarn from my stash and just knitting through the pattern. You work in the sort of intarsia manner, working these sort of blocks and stripes, and it was such a fun knit. I worked on this for a couple of months, and as you can see I'm really getting close to finishing this one. So I've got to knit down so the front is the same as the back, so I've only got 3 or 4 more stripes left to do. There's some little cap sleeves to put on, so I'll need to do that, and then I need to figure out whether I want to lengthen this at all. I think I've knit to the length recommended in the pattern, but I wanted to finish it. I've got plenty of yarn to play with, so I wanted to finish the front and the back and add the sleeves and then try it on and see what I felt like in terms of length, and whether I wanted to add some more stripes or whether I'm just going to add the ribbing. So yeah, that is the second choice, my Revo. I will ask my fabulous Patreon community to vote between those 2 projects. Number 17 is Use Your Brain. That's come up a couple of times I think recently, and the idea, at least for me, is to pick up a project that either needs some mending or adjusting, something that I need to think about, or a project that is not just plain stockinette knitting. So I've got a few patterned socks on my needles at the moment because I'm going to be picking a couple of sweater projects to work on this month. I think I'm going to use my Use Your Brain prompt to just be sort of like a catch-all for socks. I've got the 3rd and final pair of the socks from Carly Perrin's. It was either called the Camping Socks Collection or the Go Camping Socks Collection. There were 3 socks in that, and I've got the final pair to knit. It's a lovely textured pattern, so not plain knitting. I've also got this round of the 12 Cozy Toes knit along, the socks for that. That's a knit along being hosted by the lovely Kelly from Roro and Cades. Every 2 months she releases one of her sock patterns at a discount, and we are knitting through those. So I've got my September-October pair of socks for that, and it's got a lovely lace panel down one side of the sock. There's a lot of plain knitting in that one, but there is some lace. So I've got that, and I've also got a few pairs of my Christmas socks that were part of my 12 cast-ons last year. I'm doing colourwork socks, and I've got 2 pattern socks to finish for that collection of socks that I'm knitting as well. So plenty of choice for that one. Next up, number 15, and that is something that I started before 2025, before this year. And I'm actually going to pick a crochet project for this one. Now that we're going into the latter part of the year, I feel very drawn towards blankets again. And I have my granny advent blanket that I'm working on. So a few years ago, probably 3 years ago now, I started making these little 4-patch squares using some yarns that I received in an advent swap with a group of my lovely friends. And I've just been sort of picking this up and working on it since then, as and when I feel like it, which, to be honest, has not been that often. But I feel like I've got quite a lot of squares now, and I'm sure the last time I worked on this I said that I needed to lay these out and figure out how many more I needed to make a decent blanket size. I'm thinking I might make a large-ish lap blanket to snuggle up on under the sofa in the winter. I've got a few blankets that live down in the living room, and yeah, I just think as we go into the colder months, I love snuggling under my blankets. I think I'm going to work on this. I've sorted out a bunch of mini skeins to add to this as well. I've got a bunch of mini skeins that were mostly sent to me by the wonderful Andy and Angela from Attic Spin Dye. That's going to be my before 2025 project. I don't know if it will be possible to finish this one by the end of the year. I think ultimately it comes down to how big I decide to make this, but it'd be nice to get some work on it and to actually kind of figure out whether I'm close to the finish or not. I'm using some opal yarn. This is one of their solid colourways. It's called Anthracite. It is the dark grey that I'm using to join all of my squares together. And then last but by no means least, number 5, and that is sweater. I mean, I have plenty of those to pick from. I'm going to go for another one that's on my priority list that I set for myself, and it's the Raya sweater, which was originally published in Pom Pom magazine. This issue that's got a little bit bent up in my bag, but all the patterns in this issue were inspired by weaving or woven fabric, I believe. I love this project. I'm just so curious to see what I'm going to feel about it once I've got it finished. And if you've been following for a while, you know this is a knit sideways fringed sweater, and I'm using a combination of my handspun yarns. Most of these handspuns, like all of the blues and pinks and things that you see, were part of the advent swap that I did with my lovely friend Lisa. Most of them are from the year before last's advent, and a couple more from a previous year as well I threw in. So yeah, I'm having fun playing with all of those colours. And then the sort of brownie colour is Fleurville 4-ply from the Yarn Collective, I think. So I've knit the front of this sweater. It's quite an oversized sweater, and I've just started going along and joining like the back. So you sort of work along and you pick up a stitch at the top. So yeah, as you can see, I'm here. I've got all of this left to go. So a lot of knitting. But I have put it on my priority list because I really would like to see if I can get this done. It's quite a slow knit because of the constant changing of colours, but it's also really enjoyable. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to that one, the Raya. That's going to be my project for my sweater pick. As I have been doing for the last few months, having sort of 2 sweaters on the go, I've been tending to alternate. So I'll work a week on one sweater and then I swap to the other, and then I swap back and forward as the month goes. I will be employing that approach again with my Raya and whichever of the projects Patreon community picks for me as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to October making. Please do let me know in the comments below what you will be working on in the coming weeks. I really would love to know. Plenty of you have decided to join in our Finishing Frenzy cowl. I've decided after my whip tour video that we would have a make along to help encourage everyone to finish as many things, to clear off as many needles as possible before the end of 2025. So there are some threads up in our Ravelry group if you are a Ravelry user. We're also using hashtag Finishing Frenzy 2025 on Instagram. So yeah, please do share your wonderful finished projects. And as always, you can double dip in any of my other cows. I've also got the scrap make along still running till the end of the year, and we're also working on our 12 cast-ons 2025 until the end of the year. So if you finish any of those projects as well, you can double dip in the finishing frenzy cow too. Don't think I've got too much going on in terms of personal stuff. I think there'll be at least one family weekend away, but other than that I should have quite a few, hopefully, free weekends for making progress on my projects. So we shall see how far we get. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend it with me by watching the channel, by liking the video. You are supporting everything that I do here, and if you wanted to support in another way, then you could consider becoming a member of Patreon. I put all of my videos that I release here over on Patreon. I put them up for early access and without any adverts, and also I try to publish as much additional content as I can over there too. So yeah, if you would at all be able to consider supporting me that way, then I would be very grateful. If you're not able to support that way but you did want to make a one-off donation to help me set aside the time that it takes to make all of these videos, there's also a link to my Ko-fi page below this video, which I don't mention those things very often, so I hope you don't mind me mentioning them now. I will of course be back again soon with some more making content, so I hope you will join me for the next video. Until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.